Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another evening of Business and Opportunities in Ukraine. My name is Mike Wilson, and I'm here with by Andesite Blue and Toloka Studios for putting our production studio and we just want to thank them for putting this on each and every week. They do a lot of work in the community. They do a lot of programs that really benefit everyone in Ukraine and the community, and we really appreciate Toloka Studio. So this evening, it'll be just me tonight, so it's just going to be you and myself. In a selfish way, I like it because it gives me an opportunity to just really open up and talk. I like to talk, as you probably well know, and so there's a way I don't get interrupted in my thoughts and what I want to share with you. The title of this evening is Flexibility and the Value or the Importance of it towards Growth. Flexibility, it's kind of like when someone says, you just need to be patient. And, we're thinking, oh, great, patience. Everyone tells me I need to be patient, and then when a situation comes upon us, then we find ourselves impatient and we want to get something done right away. We want to solve the problem, or we get emotional, and there's a lot of other aspects in there. And investing, patience is a very vital key component to success and protecting yourself in investments. But flexibility, let's get into that a little bit. Before we do, there's going to be some wonderful changes coming up. I don't know if you remember, 2 weeks ago I had a young lady on. She was a doctor of psychology. She's actually getting her PhD this year, and so I'm very proud of her and for that accomplishment. And of course, that took a lot of patience, a lot of time, and a lot of flexibility because she has a family. She has to take care of her daughter, who loves horses, who goes is a jump. I don't even know what you would call it, an equestrian jump program where she competes. And so she has to travel with her daughter. It's definitely not a cheap sport. But she loves her daughter and the love of horses, so there's a lot of changes that happen in her life. So she has to work all of this out within her own schedule to make it all work. So flexibility is a key point in her life. But we're going to be seeing her more on the program. She lives in two places, Kiev and Rivne. And when she's in Kiev, we're going to have an opportunity to sit down and discuss some more with her. She brings in such a valuable concept and perceptions of our thoughts, our emotions, and the psychological levels of business and what makes some people successful, what makes others not successful. So I would be happy to have her on board, kind of teaming up with me to do multiple programs with her throughout the month. Plus, I do believe that we're going to also be able to have her own program, so she'll be able to talk directly with her own profession and get into biohacking and her specialty. So those are some of the changes coming forward. But anyway, but as far as business and opportunities that I present on this program, we will always be talking about that. Including opportunities for helping here in Ukraine, the humanitarian aids. Also have some different political aspects and guests on board. So we'll be talking about Ukraine specifically. In reality, it all ties together because Ukraine is our home. It's our dwelling place. It's a place that we're entertained. We provide for ourselves through work or business. We take care of our families, we want to grow, we want to travel, we want to do things, but we always come back home to Ukraine. It's a beautiful country, beautiful culture. The people who live here, they love their family, they love their moms and dads, they love their children, and so it's a very, very close style community. So, everything that we do really evolves around Ukraine. So let's talk a little bit about this flexibility. I had a meeting today with a gentleman that I just met for the first time. He's American, and I was thankful to meet him. He's a really nice man. He is a businessman, lives out of Utah, and he's going to be our guest. His name is Gordon. I won't go any more into detail about him and stuff like that, but either next week or the week after, before he has to go back to America, we will be having him on as our guest. As we were talking, we hit it off really well. We connected. We have the same mindset in the way we think. politically, kind of spiritually, and psychologically. We were just able to really hit it off and have a great conversation. And I saw some things that he just said, and some of his disciplines that we'll get into again later. Well, I'd invited him to come this evening. It was last minute, and he said yes. He said, yeah, I can do it. And so I kind of changed my plan because I knew I was going to be here with you by myself. And I thought, okay, it'll be nice. I'll have a guest this evening, and it'll be worth it. He has a lot to say, and we have a lot in common to be able to talk about. And but he needed to take care of some business before he came. Well, as it may be, he got to his location to take care of what he needed to take care of, and it was delayed. Like many things that happen when we set an appointment to do something, it doesn't always start on the time that we think it's going to start, when we're supposed to be there at 3 o'clock, and then they don't really service us until 3:30. Well, that's exactly what happened with him. They couldn't find the documents, and so there was a search in there, so what would have been 3 minutes late ended up turning out to be 30 minutes late, and it just wasn't conducive for him to be able to make it on time for this program. And I said, hey, no problem. I planned on being here anyway alone, so my topic isn't really going to change, and we'll just have you on the next week. But, it's really a great joy to be that flexible. We get uptight sometimes, we want it to be a certain way. For example, our house. Our house is our home, it's our castle, right? We have everything where we want it. We have the furniture where we want it. We have the dishes in the cupboards where we want them. We have a certain way that we live, and we're comfortable with it. If you bring somebody into your home that doesn't have the same values or the same principles as you do in the way you maintain your home, it tends to stir the pot a little bit, especially if they stay for a week or a month or whatever. And I've had guests that stayed with me for, a few weeks or even several months and even a year. And, you can't just get so pinned up that everything has to be your way. Yeah, you share with your guests that I like it this way, and this is the reason why. And they can, in turn, listen to you. And if they're polite and they're caring, they'll listen to you. And they say, oh, okay, thank you for sharing that. And then they will adjust to some of the things that mean something to you. The way you wash the dishes, the way you put the dishes up, the way you stack the dishes, the way you have the furniture, the way you vacuum, the way you keep it clean, whatever you do in your home. Again, it's your kingdom. The person visiting you needs to be able to adjust and be flexible to your lifestyle so that they aren't a disruption, but they're a blessing. But also, as a host, we also have to be flexible to allow for their lifestyle because it is different than ours, so that we don't lose our peace, so we don't go to bed at night thinking, just fretting over the things that didn't get done. Or you don't go to bed at your normal time because you spend the next 30 minutes to an hour fixing everything they did that was out of order. And it just kind of takes away your joy and your peace and the joy of being able to accommodate someone as your friend as a guest in your home. Well, that's kind of a crude example of flexibility. And we have business, of course. We have to be flexible, especially as entrepreneurs and business owners. This is really where it's important. And this is where even Irena will help us a lot in the psychological aspects of this, because what we do in our life and what we do for others is going to play a big role in our success in our companies, whether you want to open one company, 2, 3, 4, or multiple. Yes, we're going to gain the experience on how to do business, how to manage money, timing, and everything. We're going to get those experiences that we need to operate the business. But business isn't about a machine. Business is about people. It's about the people that you bring on board to help you, that you hire, your management team. It's about your customer base, the people that you want to reach to, the people that you want to be able to service, whatever it is. Even if you just make machinery, you still have to service your customers. You still have to be polite, you have to be pleasing, you have to be willing to fix issues that were caused by your products or whatever it is that you're doing that is a business. And it's all about, and not everybody works on the same clock as you do. which can be very frustrating at times if you're very meticulous. And let's say you're one of those people that are very that you're on time, you're punctual, and it's important to you to be punctual. But you're finding out that 80% of the people you deal with are not punctual. They are late 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. If they're late an hour, it depends on where we're meeting, I will cancel the meeting. At some point, it just becomes absolutely rude if they have not communicated with me. Now, if they communicated with me and said, look, there was an accident. I didn't get in the accident, but because I was there, I'm a witness to it, I'm delayed to the meeting. Or I had to take my daughter or son to the emergency, they cut themselves, or something happened, or whatever emergency can get up, and they communicate that to you, said, look, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be there on time. They either will reschedule it, or they will say, can you wait 30 minutes? I will be there in 30 minutes once we take care of this. Now I feel okay. I feel good about this because they were prompt to tell me what's wrong. But if they don't communicate at all and 30 minutes goes by, usually I have a 20-minute marker. If I don't hear from them at all within 20 minutes, then I wait the extra 10 and then I'm walking out the door. And I like to meet at restaurants. And so I'll pay my bill for drinks or whatever that I've been sipping on while I'm waiting for them, whether it's tea or whatever. But then I leave, and I don't let them know I left. I just leave because they didn't have the courtesy to tell me. Later on, of course, we will communicate. I'll say, hey, what happened? We had a meeting. Where were you? But in my mind already, because they did not communicate their whereabouts, why they were late, or whatever the circumstance was that prevented them from communicating with me, I've already taken on an attitude, and not to change my own mood or attitude, but I've already taken on a perception of who they are. Do I really want to do business with them? I can't trust them to communicate with me. Those are valuable things, and those are my morals, because I've been in business for 40 years, and when I knew that I was going to be late for a customer meeting, I called them up. Now, this is before cell phones where you can text. So I called them up, and I said, hello, this is Mike, John, I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm on my way there. I'm on the trip. This is what happened. And they were always, always grateful for me. I had gained 50% of business without competition because of that rule that I placed on myself. Now, as a business owner, when I have meetings, there's times that you have to be flexible. The world throws at us all kinds of things. Okay, we could name one right off the top. How about COVID in 2020? All right, that was handled by every government in the world wrong. Now, there was a reason behind it. I'm not going to get into that. There's politics. But nobody handled it right. 2 years later, so 3 years later now, we can look at that. We realize that masks didn't do anything. The side effects of the injections for the vaccines caused more problems than the COVID itself. And so we learned all of this through over the 3-year period. And but you know what? It threw a huge wrench in work. It threw a huge wrench in a lot of businesses. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of companies ended up having to fold. A lot of restaurants couldn't maintain. They couldn't stay open because they weren't taking on any revenue. And the problem is overhead doesn't stop on businesses. Just because your employees aren't working for you, and you might have, and you want to take care of your employees, you want to keep your employees, you try to spend some money on them, to give them small salaries even though they're not working, just so that they're there and available when you're ready to start back up and work. You can only do that for so long. There's only so much reserve you have set aside to be able to take care of this and to know that, your business is going to recover. Restaurants after COVID weren't as busy as it was before, plus tourism is way down. We'd lost a lot of our foreigners that would come in to Kiev and to different parts of Ukraine. They were spending money and filling these restaurants up. One of my favorite watering holes is Cooper Bar, or as it's spelled in English is Copper Pub. Cooper Pub in Ukrainian, and downtown by Independence Square. It was one of my favorite places. So much happened every time I went there, but it was filled with people from all over the world. It was kind of a gathering place for foreigners. And so it gave me an opportunity to meet new people and to strike up conversations and make new friends and do business and have meetings and things in that place. So it was really thriving. Now they're still around, which I'm thankful for, but they're not busy. And it used to be full all the time, and now they're not. And so I know that they're suffering greatly in the revenue in the business to be able to maintain their employee staff, their wait staff, their bar staff, their cooks, and things like that. And I know that they've probably reduced salaries a bit to be able to survive and take the low volume of customers. That place will, I really hope it survives throughout these 3 years from COVID and now the war, to when tourism comes back, when the war is over and tourism will come flooding back, and that place will just be hopping again, and it will be an amazing place to go. I go there now periodically just because I enjoy it. It's good feelings, emotions. It gives me good memories. But think about the flexibility that the ownership had to do on that one. They're not making money on that, and hopefully they have other businesses that they are working with on there. I don't know the owners of Copper Pub. But there's a couple of them around. It's not just one place. There's a few, one right down the street from me. And it gets busy from time to time, and they keep the doors open, and I'm thankful for that. But we know that there's no profit in Copper Pub currently. So the owners are keeping it open. They're still servicing the community, which that takes a lot of sacrifice. To be able to keep your doors open and knowing that each month you're not in the black, you're in the red, and so you know that you're spending each month to keep your doors open in the hopes that this war will end, tourism will come back, and you'll be flooded again, and you'll be back to making a profit. Hopefully there's enough reserves that you have accumulated over the years. Copper Pub's been around for many, many years. I don't know how long, 20? There was a sign when it said it was established in 1990 something, so it could be almost 30 years that they've been open, and so hopefully they've have enough reserves built up in that to be able to adjust and to be flexible to keep their doors open, and they are taking in revenue, but again, it's just every month is red, not black. And if you're not familiar with red and black, anytime you look at a bank statement, anything that is red means negative. Hopefully your balance isn't red, but like your expenditures and the money that goes out is in the red. Deposits are black, and everything else that is above the zero is black. So that means profit or what you have in your account that is above zero. So that's what red and black mean. Anyway. So that a lot of flexibility had to be taken place with many, many business owners throughout the world, and especially Kiev, where I live, and a lot of businesses closed, a lot of restaurants closed that will never open again. So there's a lot of empty shells, a lot of empty buildings that used to be full of business. So there's those types of flexibility. So I went from meetings, I went from living at your home, from meetings, the idea of taking on flexibility is really to help your mood and your character. It works internally for you. It's for your sake. The ability to be flexible. Having that ability takes away a lot of headache, and it takes away a lot of that emotional stress and anger. Instead of just blowing up at somebody. I've talked to many people, and they said, they were late, and it really drives me crazy, and I don't want to see them anymore. Well, you can't take on that attitude, not in business. Personally, if that's what you want to take on in your personal life, it's going to hurt you in the long run. I don't recommend it, but you have that option to do it. You have that option to do that in business, but I'm telling you, you're not going to grow, you're not going to succeed. The whole purpose of business and opportunities is that there's a lot of opportunities there, but it really is in the mindset. It's really right here and in here. When these two line up, then you are really a powerful force in yourself to affect your community and to do good business. There's a place in the Bible where it says you reap what you sow. If you sow good things into other people's lives, you will reap a good harvest. If you sow poor or bad things into people's lives, you're going to reap weeds and thorns and bad things in your life. It's just, you can't avoid it. I was in the metro yesterday, and this beautiful woman, and she was an older woman. I mean, she wasn't young. She was probably in her mid-50s, but beautiful. And she dressed like she knew she was beautiful. She had that kind of a standard short black hair, so we're kind of, I don't particularly care for that short hair look, but it does look good on a lot of ladies that that present themselves well. But she was very good looking, but she had that typical Soviet frown, that just walking through, and you can see it in her eyes. Her eyes matched her mouth, that real stern, don't bother me, I'm unhappy, and I was almost tempted. I didn't do it, and it's maybe I should have. And I didn't know if she would have spoken English. She would say, "Hey, excuse me, do you speak English?" And because I don't speak enough Ukrainian to say this. And if she did, I says, you're an absolutely beautiful woman, but would really cap it off, or put the icing on the cake, is smile, and just give her a smile and walk off. Because if she had that, if you smile, the corners of your lips when you're smiling, actually there's a string, kind of like a puppet string, and when you smile, the string is attached to your heart, and when you smile here, it actually pulls the string on your heart and makes your heart smile. Try it. It really works. I learned that as a child. We would wake up, and wake up, and we were, as a kid, with our emotions and stuff, and we just, in a bad mood for no reason. Just, My mom didn't allow that at all. But, she didn't spank us for it. She didn't, ground us and send us to our room. She would say, "Hey," and of course we would stop. You never not listen to your mom. At least when I grew up, especially my mom. She said, "Look at me." She says, "Where's your smile?" And I look at her, and I didn't want to smile. I'm trying to fight it. She said, "Come on now. Where's your smile?" And she would smile a little bit, and all of a sudden the little corners start curling up. And you don't want to, because you want to hold on to that emotion of, I don't want to smile, and you want to hold on to the emotion. But then by the third time she says, "Show me your smile," by the third time you smile, your heart was lifted up, and that previous emotion was gone. It left. It was an amazing, amazing transformation. And it all my life I grew up that way. So I didn't wake up that way every morning. Most mornings I was very happy and everything, jovial and funny, and and we had a good time. But just every once in a while you wake up in one of those moods. Even to this day I can wake up in one of those moods. And we'll talk about that, because as an adult we have to learn to make ourselves smile. We don't always have our mommy there to encourage us to smile. But when you do it to somebody in public, it's amazing. And you can just go to them and says, you're an amazing looking woman, man, but how about a smile? And you smile at them, and you just say something like that, and next thing you know, they smile, and boom. When you leave them, guaranteed, and they won't forget it. But it did. It did something inside their soul. It woke them up from whatever mode they were in. It doesn't mean they were in a bad mood. It's just kind of a habit. Habit of just walking through the metro, and just, and it's not just the metro. I mean, they go outside, they're that way. They walk all the way home that way, and it's like an unapproachable spirit that they project. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me, But yet they dressed really nice. Why not look at you? If you're going to dress that way, you want people to look at you. And if you want to look beautiful, smile, because that smile is what really brings it out. That's what takes that beauty. I say there's two types of beautiful in Ukraine. There's beautiful, which there's just absolutely beautiful all over, millions and millions and millions of beautiful people here, and then there's amazing beauty. beautiful doesn't come with amazing beauty. Amazing beauty comes from within, and amazing beauty is that beauty with a smile. It's just that amazing part of your character that gives to people, and that's what makes the beautiful from just being beautiful to amazing beauty. And I'll take the amazing beauty any day. It's the one that I like to have close to me because it inspires you and it encourages you. So, as an adult, many things hit us, approach us. Many changes happen, even throughout one single day. We have plans. We know we're going to get up. We know we're going to make coffee. We know we're going to have breakfast. We know we're going to go to work. We know the steps we have to go to get to work, whether we take the metro or drive a car or the bus, whatever it takes to get there. We know what is needed to do it. And then we get to work, and then we pretty much know what we need to do when we get to work, and we have our day planned out and our week planned out. And if we have a job where we punch a clock, we pretty much know that's what we do. We go back and forth. But that mood, sometimes we just wake up in a cranky, bad, grumpy mood. And it affects our family. If we're married and have children, when we have that mood, we tend to bark at our loved ones, our spouse and our children. We tend to bark at them, and now we're just giving our mood all on top of them. We're making them miserable. And now we've ruined their day. We have to be able to judge ourselves and to make ourselves smile. Say, hey, you know what? I don't feel so good today. And I don't mean sickness. I just mean emotionally. You know it when you wake up. You can't fool it. You can't lie to yourself. You know the truth. You know what's going on. You might not know why you're in a bad mood, because there's times I'm thinking, why do I feel this way? What happened? And you're kind of thinking about yesterday, and you think, it might have happened yesterday. It might have something happened yesterday that you didn't deal with, and you took it to bed, went to sleep, you woke up, boom, and it flourished inside of you, and you're like, you're feeling low. Find out what it is. If you can't find out what it is, just do and say the things that you know that's going to help change your mood. You're still going to get that answer most likely if you really like to search yourself. As an entrepreneur, as a businessman or woman, these are vital things to be able to address in yourself. That's where we talked about, when I talked about flexibility. Okay, something happened. It didn't go the way you wanted it to. Maybe the meeting didn't quite give you the satisfaction that you were really looking for because you wanted particular answers or directions, and they didn't come. Didn't mean the meeting had to be very bad. It just meant that you had an expectation of it to be one way, and it didn't happen. If it changes your mood and the following day, and then you just kind of carry that without really adjusting your mood, it's going to affect you that day, and it's potentially could affect business. We think, well, as long as I don't say something bad, nobody's going to really be bothered or affected by it. I wish it was that easy, and it's not. But it's not true. Because what you carry inside, even though your words might not be cruel or mean, to your customers. Let's say you have a retail store and you got customers coming in. But you're carrying this flavor. It's like perfume. Okay, so you put perfume on in the morning and you smell good. People can smell it, and I like to compliment people when I smell their perfume or cologne, a man's or a woman's perfume or cologne. I go, wow, you know what? That smells really good. I tell them that because the moment it goes into my nose, it lifts my spirit up. It feels good. It smells good. Now, there are some people. Like some taxi drivers or some people who've been around that don't shower regularly, and they don't have a good body hygiene, and so they don't use deodorants, they don't use colognes, they don't, and so they have a really bad odor, and you can feel it, you can smell it, and you can feel it, even when they're, 1 meter away or 1 or 2 meters away, and you can feel that, and it's offensive. Well, it's the same with our spirit. Our spirit produces an aroma. Nobody can smell it. Nobody can see it. But they feel it. And if you're not able to adjust that in yourself, then when you come into work, even though your words still might be right, your spirit isn't, and the customer feels like, oh, I didn't really feel good in there. I don't really like the way I felt in that, and our customers' experiences is what brings them back for more, because if they have a good experience in your store, in your shop, in your restaurant, or whatever you have, if they have a good experience with you, they're going to continue to come back because they're developing trust, they're developing a relationship with you. But if you're not judging your emotions and attitudes and the things that are going on inside of you, you're actually projecting that out into the community and those people around you, even your friends and family members, stuff like that. You're bringing them down. You're not lifting them up. And so, in the business world, that can affect your sales. That can affect your presentations. It can affect so much of your life. So, mourning is the most important part of you being able to judge that mood. My mom did it for me when I was a child. Thank you, Mom, because you know what? I've been doing it as an adult ever since. And it's not always easy, but I know it's not something I want to carry. I'm not used to being in a bad mood. I'm not used to being low or and depressed, or something. I broke my leg, as I told you last time. I broke my leg a month ago, and it was on the anniversary of when I broke my leg last year. It's not an anniversary present that I was really looking to give myself, but it happened. There were circumstances and there was reasons why it broke. If the leg had never been broken before, it wouldn't have broke this last time. But because of the tendons and everything involved with it, it snapped easily. Now, fortunately, it didn't break as much, so I don't have to go through surgery. But the issue on it is that I still had to deal with the emotion, and knowing that for 2 months I'm going to be in crutches and walking, using my hands and shoulders to walk with, to get around town, and that's exhausting. And it's not pleasant. Now I've gotten used to it, and, unfortunately I had practice last year, so this year was much easier. Now this year I noticed a difference though. Last year I did get depressed. Well, the surgery didn't help because for the first month I had to keep my leg lifted up and I couldn't get out of the seat, and then we had blackouts. And when the blackouts went out, there was no internet, and there was, so I was just in darkness, sitting in darkness for 4 to 6 hours, so that was that was a bit depressing. And it was literally, I felt it. I wasn't projecting it in a way because I was still trying to judge my depression, but boy, it was like, ooh. So I had to get out, because I knew what would lift me out of my depression was to get into public and to get into people. So I would walk in the darkness. That wasn't easy either. When the power was out, the elevator was out, and going down the stairs. So I didn't do it very often, but sometimes I had to force myself to do it, knowing that when I was going to be in the presence of other people, it was going to lift my spirit up, and that I can engage in the community and feel alive again. That's all I wanted. So that's the little tricks that I did for myself then. Now, because I'm involved in business and developing the saloon that we talked about, I had a different mindset on there, so that I knew that it would slow me down so that I can do the things I needed to do, whereas I was running around and doing this and that and going tuda suda and everything, that I wasn't getting some things done that I needed to. I needed to be slowed down to do it. So I took it as a positive sense to help me to focus on more necessary things to accomplish what I need to accomplish. And so my mindset going into this was a lot different. And so I have not experienced that depression at all. I've also had a lot of people help me. I've had people come over and bring borscht, which was lovely and nice. I've even had a young lady come over and make the borscht, and which was just really pleasing to have so many people help. I had men come and say, hey, what can I do for you? Can I bring some groceries? They would bring groceries over for me if I say, hey, I do need this because I can't carry it while I'm on crutches. And so the help has been really inspirational too during that time. So I wasn't closed in. I didn't block out the community, but I let the community come in. And it's something that I have done since being in Ukraine, well, all my life really, is to sow goodness and kindness into other people's lives without any expectation of return to myself. When I needed it, I had the community help me, and that has been a real blessing. That's also about a business as well, and it's actually a topic that I wanted to talk to you about. Is that when you, as an entrepreneur and as a business person, the mindset that you have to get into is learn to give first to your community before receiving. Learn to give first before expecting a dollar in return. Even as a business person, commerce is commerce. We need money to survive. We need money for operations. We need money for overhead. We need money for salaries. We need money for ourselves to be able to live. That's why we do business. We do business so we can succeed. We do business because we don't want to punch a clock. We do business because we want to grow. We want to dream. We want to do more than we can by just working for somebody else, and that's why we do business. But if you learn to give first, then what you give shall be returned to you. That's another biblical principle. It says, "What you sow, you shall reap." So it says, "Give abundantly, for you shall receive a reward, and that which you have been given will be given back to you multiple times." So, if you wanted to be selfish, give here and get back, multiple times, which could be 4, 5, 6, 7 times more than what you gave. It doesn't come all at once. But if you continue to do that throughout your life and giving, then that abundance is going to come back in your life and in your lifetime. And that was the principles that breaking my leg and the people coming over and helping me and providing borscht and carrying grocery bags for me and bringing groceries into the house and things like that. It was very, very nice to have people just step up and want to help. They wanted to. They said, "Hey, how can we help? We heard that you broke your leg. How can we help you?" They've been messaging me and stuff like that. And so it's been absolutely wonderful. In the same way that Ukraine has been getting a lot of help from the foreign countries and foreign people coming in and doing what they can, and money coming in and weapons coming in and supplies coming in to be able to help Ukraine survive this war and to take care of our enemies. It's basically the same principle. So, and one of the reasons why the United States is a wealthy nation, because the United States has never lacked in giving to other countries and helping in needs during crises and things like that. So the principle works in individually, the principle works in corporately, the principle works in governmentally as well. Now, we started off with flexibility. We kind of went on into giving. One of the reasons about giving, too, is that there's a kind of a mindset, a mentality in Ukraine, and it's not Ukraine's fault. It's actually a culture from the Soviet Union. So it's really any country, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, Slovenia, Czechoslovakia, Kazakhstan, Pakistan. All of these places that have been. I don't even know all of the countries that were involved into the Soviet Union, but because it was controlled for so long, they've gotten used to the corruption of that. The government takes and never gives, and the oligarchs we've gotten used to. They take and never give, and so greed is kind of the motto of the wealthy, and the people have got this mentality that you can't trust no one. You go into business, you can't trust no one. Well, that's not a good business principle. If you don't trust no one, then where are you going to go and how are you going to grow? Because you're going to be suspicious of everything around you all the time, and it really prevents you from growing. You're going to say, "Oh, the government just taxes us and they just take all of our money," or I can't grow because then someone's going to get jealous and they're going to close my business and take it away. That has happened, and don't get me wrong. I know that those are facts, and there's a big transition from coming out of the Soviet Union into becoming into a commercial industry. But the government is also working on reforms and closing those doors of corruption so that it becomes more inspirational and more conducive for business owners and even small businesses. So we have to, again, have a mindset of we have to trust. Of course, we have to be smart. We don't just arbitrarily trust everything and everybody around us. That's not what that's saying. It's really dealing with the mentality of I can't trust anybody. That mentality prevents growth, and it prevents you from really going anywhere. The mindset is where we have to deal with it here, and then of course then it has to marry into the heart, because we can understand it intellectually, but if we don't really grasp it soulfully, then it just stays there. It's like an education that we don't use, and we don't, so we're educated in it, but we never use it, and so it never really goes down to the heart to believe that it works. And so the mind has to be married to the heart or the soul in order for it to really be something that you can work with and move forward with. And so the principle of trust, you bring people in and you trust them. You are wise in your accounts and your affairs and business, so that as soon as something happens that is untrustworthy and that they do an action or something that steals from you or something like that you're on top of it and you'll be able to identify it, and then of course you can break that relationship before it becomes too far damaging. Now, I've been damaged. I have trusted. I've been damaged. I've lost businesses. I've lost hundreds of thousands and $1 million over trust. And what did I have to do? Believe that everybody is not trustworthy? No, I had to pick myself back up. I had to listen to my mom. Now smile. Where's your smile? Even though when you don't feel like it and you feel you're full of anger and you're full of rage and you just want vengeance on everything that was involved that caused the damage and caused the thievery and that caused the extortions and stuff like that, you're willing to strangle, kill, hang, shoot. It doesn't matter. You're willing to mow the whole lawn down and everybody in front of it. Because of that thing that was done to you, you have to learn from it. You don't not trust. That trust issue is a big deal also, and is important in the value of growth and your business. You learn to forgive. You learn to move on. It's a bridge behind you. You move forward. You continue to press on. If that business is completely shut out, stuff like that, believe me, if that's something you created, you can create again, and you can create something new. You can move forward. Because again, if you don't trust, you'll never get started, and it shows that you're not flexible to the environment around you. Not everything's going to be perfect. Evil exists. Evil is here to kill, steal, and destroy, and it's going to. And we're not going to be able to see everything. It's impossible for us to see everything and to project everything and to know what's around the corner. We can't see around the corner, but we have to be able to face what's around the corner and deal with it when it happens. And sometimes what we call this blindsides us. It hits us that we didn't see it. There's no way for us to see it, and boom, we get hit. We get knocked down to the ground. Stand back up and do it again. And you'll break those ties. You'll move on from those ties. You can forgive those ties and go. If it's something that's criminal and can be prosecuted, and you can get the prosecutors involved and deal with it, let them deal with it. Let the law deal with it. That's fine. But if it isn't, you got to be able to move on. You have to be flexible. You have to be able to take the punches. A champion like Klitschko or Mike Tyson or anybody we know that's an absolute champion, they got hit, they got knocked down, they lost some fights, but they still were champions. They still were the number one fighters in the world. Nobody could beat them at that time. They were the top, and but they took a lot of hits and to get there. And we have to be able to do that too. We have to be able to adjust our plans. We have to be flexible with our ideas. We have to be flexible with what we're doing and our direction, so that when a rock or boulder is in front of us that is immovable, we're able to move around it so that we can continue to move forward and grow. Well, that is a lot to take in, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for listening to this evening. it's just kind of, again, I like spending time alone with you because it gives me a chance to just kind of pour my heart out and things and thoughts that I've been going through. I want to say again, I'm looking forward to Irena. As I said in my show before, I'm used to Irina, and with her pronunciation a little bit different, so it throws me off. So Irena, I'm looking forward to her being on the show. I'm not sure which week, but I will inform you when she is coming on, and she will be on more frequently because the value of her background, her education, and her experience, personal and professionally, is really great, especially for business. So I look forward to giving little clues and tidbits and information to help you. I hope in some way that this will help you, inspire you. I know that we struggle. There's all kinds of things that come our way. My saloon is being, there's always something coming up that's in a delay. But, I know I have a focus, I have direction, I know what needs to be done and how to take care of it. And so I'm just flexible on the timing of it and everything so that we can get that going and moving forward. So I hope, again, that this was some form of inspiration for you and that you were able to receive something from it. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Hopefully, Gordon will be able to join us next week. We'll be talking about it. I think he's available, and he said he's available. So we'll make sure that day is free and open for him so that he can make it here on the program. So have yourself a wonderful week. Have a good evening, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good night. Slava Ukraina.